Hey, welcome everybody to Two Drunk Dudes in a Gun Room. Man, I've been fighting technology all day today, but it's good to be here. We're off work. It is hump day, and we are trying to get to the weekend. So let's get through the Gun Room Radio little commercial, and then we are going to bring on an amazing artist. I think y'all are going to enjoy this. Come listen to the best music in Gun Room Radio. All of the artists that are performing are within the military family. Their songs are authentic, and the music and the camaraderie is amazing. So I want you to come and listen. Have a great time. Check us out at gunroomradio.airtime.pro or on Facebook at Gunroom Radio. Hey, all right, all right. Without any further ado, let's bring on Zack Slyver.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. I spent last few days listening to my friends on this podcast, and
Oh yeah,
I love the platform. Thank you.
yeah, man. It has been amazing since season two because season one, man, we were really local, brought in a lot of people, and then man, season two, I just said, you know what, we're gonna start getting more people on, and this journey has been, I love it, man. I do. I look forward to this part of my day every day.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man.
So I was born and bred in Dayton, Ohio. Um, Grew up here. My dad was a pastor, and my mom was a clown, and somehow they created me. I got a big heart for Dayton. My brother and I do a lot of community work around town. I took what I knew about police calling in the military, and we started neighborhood cleanups. And so we've cleaned up about 1,800 tons of trash out of Dayton neighborhoods. And I love making music, and I love creating under the moniker Yuppie. So I've released a handful of records, and thankfully, I'm very humbled that I could be accepted in the Operation Encore family. They're about the most supportive people, and I wouldn't be where I am musically if it wasn't for the board and everybody at Operation Encore.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, man, they've helped me out a ton with this radio station. Guy is an amazing person. He's the main person I've talked to, but he is without a doubt an amazing person. So
Truly.
yep, Operation Encore is it's a great organization. So you went in the Marines. What drew you to the Marine Corps?
Honestly, if you could have picked, I went to a pretty big high school. There was about 1,200 of us. And if you could have picked 800 people that would have joined the military, I wouldn't have been one of those people. One day, a lot of my friends were getting into different things that I didn't want to be associated with. A lot of partying, and I don't know. I was pretty much late for every 3 o'clock class in college that I had when I was 18. So I was a little aimless. So I requested information for the Marine Corps, and they're really good at their job.
Yes, they are.
And, it just seems super appealing. And I remember my dad being like, "Are you really joining the Marines?" And I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, I joined in 2010. Served 4 years as a field radio operator. Originally, I was a line of sight radioman, but those MOSs kind of merged together. But yeah, I spent 2 years in Okinawa and 2 years in Quantico, Virginia. Give or take a few months, training and everything
Oh
else.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and kind of helped steward my music career. I
Yeah.
started a bar band when I was in Okinawa called Angry Young and Poor,
Okay.
and just yeah, I just started to write tunes in my barracks with other service people, and it's fun.
What was that like playing? Were you playing off bass or was it an on bass band?
We played off base almost predominantly. Kadena Air Base was really close to this place, Gate 2, and we would play down there 2 times a week for about a year and a half.
Hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. We may have broken a lot of rules and stayed out past curfew a lot. And we, we, I mean, when you're breaking the rules to play music, I don't think that's because I mean, in the States, they had way more liberties, and we weren't doing anything dumb. We weren't surrounding ourselves with people that would do drugs or anything
Right.
outlandish. But yeah, we would play in this bar called Gate 2 Garage all the time and kind of went through our rock and roll boot camp.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, at some points we bought wigs and drew like sleeve tattoos with paint marker because patrols would come through looking for service members and we would speak in British accents and it sounds outlandish and it sounds made up, but I swear it was it was a lot of fun and I learned a lot about songwriting and just what I wanted to do when I got out of the military. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I did a year in Korea, and you would go to some of these clubs off base that had American music,
Yeah.
and you would see that that was kind of what the Koreans loved. There would be a lot of local nationals there. They just loved
Yep.
American music. So I just picture you playing and like just a whole bunch of Japanese people there, just having a great time.
The coolest thing about it, and I think you could probably attribute this to that there'd be a room full of drunk military people
Hmm.
laughing and having the time of their life and not really paying attention. The music's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And then the Japanese people are so respectful that when you're presenting your art, they wouldn't talk. They would do slight talking, but they were really engaged and focused in what you had to say in your
Hmm.
songs. It was really profound, and that's kind of why I like playing smaller rooms instead
Yeah.
of big places
That
because you
makes
can
sense.
create that like intimate um, vibe.
Yeah, yeah. That makes real good sense. I mean, that's similar to a lot of these comedian that I've had on. It's real personal between them and the audience, especially in the local, really small venues. Like the VFWs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, I completely get it.
Did you like Korea? Did you like your time there?
It is. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I've never said this on the podcast. So me and my wife started dating in the seventh grade in Lincoln, Nebraska, right?
Nice.
Her mom is half Korean. Her mom is Korean, her dad is American, so she's half Korean. And I got stationed in her mom's hometown. Yes. So
That's a
I
small
met
world,
I
almost.
met family member. One day I was sitting in the barracks. It was a Saturday, and I got this phone call from the gate, and they said, "Hey, you got some family members out here that want to come see you." And I was like, "Who the hell flew to Korea to see me, man?" So I took off running. I get down there, and man, there's two Koreans standing at the gate. I was like, "Who the hell are you?"
My parents.
you know, but it was my mother-in-law's brother and sister-in-law. That's who was down there. And man, they owned a restaurant, and I never ate in the chow hall again. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
wouldn't
loved
eat.
it. Yeah. So I had a great time, man. I stayed out of the barracks. So I went to Osan. I went everywhere,
Amazing.
Yeah.
I pretty much tried to stay out of on base as much as I could. The
Yeah.
one thing that kind of I don't know, there's so many restrictions in Okinawa when I was there.
There was in Korea too.
Oh yeah. And so I mean, you would have like a drunk gunny that wanted to come field day you. was going through some divorce, and he's just angry and screaming at you every Thursday.
Yeah.
Um, so I found ways to just any day that I could get out of the gate, I was out and
Yeah.
just yeah, I had a lot of fun memories in Okinawa.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed it. I wish my wife could have been there because she would have loved to seen Korea, and
Yeah,
at some point I'd still love to take her. But um, yeah, I think I would have loved it a lot more if I wasn't in the military at the time. But
of course.
it's cold in the winter and running sucks. So
Oh yeah,
I still
Okinawa's so hot. People now they're like, "Why are you wearing a coat when it's like 60?" And I'm like, I don't know, freezing." I'm just so used to that, even
yeah,
though it's been like 10 years since I've been to Okinawa
yeah. No,
because
I,
it's
I
like
I get it.
110 degrees. It's just hot.
Yeah. So did you do your whole military career there in Okinawa, or?
So I tried to get an extension there, and my first sergeant said, "I'm not going to let you bang on your drum all day here." He actually, it was funny because I tried to extend, and when he wouldn't let me do that, he took a real liking to me because I played music and I don't know, I'm a 6'3" dude that's kind of lanky, but I could run and do everything. But there'd be some field day inspections that they'd be going through everybody else's stuff, and he'd be
Mhm.
like, "I heard you played a show this weekend." I'd be like, "Yes, yes, First Sergeant." And he'd be like, "You got any videos?" And I just remember him sitting on my bed with me, and we're watching these like shitty bar band videos, and like I I wasn't gonna get my gold card because I was just so used to putting in like a Liberty chit.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm not doing that." And took me up to his office at like 10 o'clock at night one time and was like, fill it all out. And it was done the next week. So after that, I went to Quantico, Virginia, and I worked at Officer Candidate School, pretty much setting up radio spots for runs. So if somebody went down, the corpsman could get out there.
Okay.
Um, and teaching officers minute radio stuff.
That was useless. Yeah, they didn't retain it.
Yeah. And it's also like inventorying 8 radios, and they're like, "We gotta do this every week." And I'm like, "Why don't we just lock it and put a camera in front of it?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, no, we need to do this. We need cohesion. We need you. Come
Yeah.
on. What are we
Yeah.
gonna do?"
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it, man. The LTs made the army fun, man. Uh, you know,
Oh
it
yeah.
gets old joking at privates. When you got a new LT, man, I just smile because I know the jokes are just going
Oh
to be
yeah.
amazing.
My first lieutenant um, in Quantico, he was hilarious. And he wouldn't fraternize, like he wouldn't go out drinking with you or anything. But he was just like he understood unit cohesion through getting to know everybody and was just I don't know, he would shoot the shit with you all the time and it was
Yeah.
fun to get to know him and just know who's leading us and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's you know a lot of LTs that are like that. They sit down and they listen to those gunnies and sergeant first
Mhm.
classes and stuff like that, and they know their place. They
Yep.
know they're in charge of the E4 and E5 below, but when it gets above that, they better listen.
Yeah. Be
And those are the smart ones.
like, I've been in 25 years and you don't know anything.
Yeah, we just had this conversation today at work, and man, it brought back some good ass chewings. I remember them, dude. They were good times. Watching
Awesome.
LTs try to think they outrank first sergeants and sergeant majors.
Oh yeah. My who was my sergeant major in Okinawa, he quit wearing his ribbons and his dress uniform because it was just like he couldn't put any more on. And he was like, "I'm not putting that shit on.
Yep,
I'm not doing that."
I yeah, I quit adding stripes, deployment stripes.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a waste of money, man. It's just another $7, $8 by the time you buy the stripes and have them sewn.
Yeah.
I'm retiring. I've got enough.
I'm getting that.
You get,
I did feel. What were you saying?
I said you get one for every 6 months you deployed. I did 68 months, so I mean, I had enough. I had enough.
Man,
But
I did feel bad that I kept getting put in non-deployable units.
there's nothing to feel bad about that.
I know, but a lot of my friends went to Iraq or Afghanistan multiple times, and I don't know. Every Marine wants to make sure his brother's okay.
I
So
get
like,
that.
I wanted to deploy so one of them didn't have to do another.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when 9/11 first kicked off, right? And our brigade commander came through, and I'd watched our first battalion deploy, and second battalion had deployed, and we had not deployed yet. And at this point, the only deployment I had done was Bosnia. And he asked, he said, "Is there any questions?" I said, "Yeah. When is it our turn? When do we get our chance?" And he said, "Watch what you wish for, because it's coming."
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, I remember at towards the end of my career thinking to myself, when is it somebody else's turn? Because
Man.
I had done so much, man. I was
Yeah.
done, you know. And I remember him telling me that 10 years later, earlier. I just remember hearing those words, and I'm like, he is so right, man. Watch what you wish for.
Well, thank you for what you did. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that, man. So when you went to Virginia, man, were you gigging at that point? Were you out hitting bars and singing there too, or?
Yep. So the bass player Dylan Royer from Okinawa had gotten out of the military,
Mm-hmm.
and so he moved to Virginia, and we played for another 2 years and released a demo CD together, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of that time was kind of tumultuous. Um, so in Okinawa or in Quantico, there was a shooting on base that happened in my barracks,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of my friends passed. So that became like front page Fox, CNN, everybody reaching out to try to get interviews and stuff. So it um, became harder to play music and stuff like that for a little while.
I can understand that.
Realizing like you have PTSD because you had to see and hear a lot of things that you weren't prepared for, I would say.
Yeah.
Even though going to battle, I don't think you can prepare fully, I would imagine. Um, I just wasn't prepared for it to happen in my home.
Yeah.
So for a long time, it kind of, I mean, it hindered me like mentally, but also it kind of put the pedal to the metal on music. And that's when I was like, we're going to release CDs and we're going to play all the shows and do everything. And yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I can get that, man. And you said something I was just sitting here thinking about. And you said that, people were reaching out and wanting interviews, and it made it hard. And it just kind of flashed through my career of how many people where things happened, and the media themselves just made it that much harder on the people that survived. So one there's two stories that I remember. You had the Jessica Lynch situation where the
Yep.
press just tried to make her out to be the greatest hero of all kind, like the next female warrior, and she had to literally fight to tell her story to set the truth straight. And then you had those what was it, three scouts that got captured in Kosovo.
Hmm.
They were on the wrong side of the line on their patrol. They basically got lost, is what happened, and they got captured. And when they finally did get released and was brought back, the press tried to make them out the heroes, and they all ended up choosing to get out of the military because they wouldn't be left alone. and they didn't feel like heroes because they knew what had happened. That they basically messed up and they went into the part of the country that we hadn't gone into yet. The
Yeah.
war in Kosovo hadn't started yet. We were still on the outside of the borders. And not that I'm saying that they did anything wrong or they're bad people, but the press just
Yeah.
that pressure on you just keeps that. It's like that finger that just keeps poking at you, man.
Yep.
And I don't think people realize how hard that can be on people, because you don't even get the moment to grieve when somebody's lost. You don't get the moment to digest it, because you got people in your face now that want you to talk about it.
Oh yeah, because his profile picture was him and I and our other friend,
Yeah.
and they just like linked to our profiles. And I mean, mostly it was a local lady that wouldn't leave me alone. And I finally had to be like, I'm grieving. I need you to leave me alone.
Yeah.
There was a guy from the Associated Press that was about the most kind person. He goes, "Look, man, I didn't want to make this call." He goes, they told me to reach out to you, and I will respect your wishes, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And that was something that I was like, all right, thanks, man. Like, but yeah, putting somebody under a microscope,
Yeah.
I mean, you can be looking at them, but at times it feels like you're burning ants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I completely get it, man. So let's talk about some of these songs.
Yeah.
One of the songs that is on the radio station that I got going is "Scoundrel." Where did that song come from, man?
So it was kind of it's a beautiful and dark kind of connotation,
Yeah.
because it's almost assassinating my past. A lot of people try to act like they've always been the perfect person. Everybody has the perfect marriage, the perfect Instagram, the perfect image of who they are. And I was acknowledging that I have not always been a nice and wonderful human being. And through a lot of my mental stuff, I took it out on people.
Yeah.
And so I think being honest and truthful with yourself is freeing and liberating.
I
I
agree.
mean, the opening song or opening lines is, "I've been a scoundrel most of my life, probably why I don't have no kids or no wife."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah. No, that you're right. Yeah, it makes sense. You,
it,
do
it
you
was
care
hard.
if we play it?
Huh?
Do you care if we play it?
No, please.
Oh yeah, man. Let me go ahead and fire it up. But yeah, so I was listening to it, and like I said, it's the one song that is on our station. But dude, I was listening to it. I was like, man, that is, um, yeah, that's basically me. So here we go. We have Yuppie with "Scoundrel."
Hope you guys enjoy.
I've been a scoundrel for most of my life. Probably why I don't have no kids or no wife. Hey, I've been a scoundrel for most of my days. Wicked son, wicked ways. I've been a scoundrel for most of my life. Most of my life. Most of my life. I've been a scoundrel on the run, on the run, on the run. been a king, I've been a son. Some say you must atone for what you've done. I drink and smoke my way all over this town. I drink and smoke my way all over this town. I've been a scoundrel on the run, on the run, on the run. I've been a scoundrel. Sorry for everything I've done. Take your heart on the run, on the run.
Thank you so much for playing that.
That is awesome. You know, so that song, just like you said, man, you could tell how it's just kind of a little bit dark, but you know, it tells a story. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because you follow a path of how a lot of people start out and their lifehood, you know, and I think a lot of veterans can relate to that.
Yeah. I think part of it is when you're in a hole to stop digging.
Yeah.
And like there's always a way out, but it's inward and you have to fix yourself before you can fix everything else.
Oh yeah, you are absolutely right. You know, and I've got that damn problem. You know, I don't know how many times I've gotten myself into trouble, and they're like, you know, you've hit rock bottom, and I said, oh yeah, hold my beer. You ain't seen shit yet.
Like, here you go.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely, man.
Watch
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And it's just like, why can't I just learn, man? You know, and I think that's that military don't quit attitude, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just it's great in some aspect, but when you're going down that wrong path, man, that same attitude kind of puts you further down into the bucket, you know.
Yeah. I think our drive can be beneficial, but also detrimental in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Absolutely, man. So what about the name, man? Where did your stage name come from?
Yuppie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an oxymoron because I feel like there's this connotation of like the 80s yuppie that comes from money
Mhm.
and like, oh, they're affluent, they have everything. But I've had to work for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I've had to just flat out make my path, and it's not always been easy, and people haven't always liked me, and maybe not everybody understands my music, but it's just this oxymoron on the fact that we all have to make our own path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, you know, that's kind of where the radio station started at, man. You know, when I started podcasting, you know, if you go back to season 1, you watch our first 3 videos, you're like, what in the hell are these idiots doing? You know, we're afraid to say the wrong things, and it was just robotic, you know. And then finally, after like episode 3, we're like, man, to hell with this. We're gonna hit this explicit button, and just be ourselves. And from there, it started getting better. And then season 2 came around, and I just wanted to keep growing and keep expanding. And I don't know how it happened. Oh, I remember how it happened. I got with the Contagion Effect, and they introduced me to Scotty Hastings. I had him on the show, and then it was like Facebook was like, no, now you're going to have a bunch of artists. Here you go. And I just started seeing artist after artist after artist coming in my feed, and everybody had the same problem that I had as a podcaster. Man, I had something to say. I wanted the guests that came on my show to have a voice and be heard, but how the hell do you do it with all these algorithms and social media, and you watch your reach, and you start realizing you're becoming a stat watcher, and it doesn't become fun anymore.
Yep.
And I was like, man, these musicians, they've got it even harder, because they not only have got to write music, record music, but they got to promote themselves. They've got to, be their own agents and everything else. And what it costs, it costs me $30 a month to podcast, man. What it costs you guys to record a song is crazy.
Yeah, I'm charging, or I get 240. It's about to be $300 now for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, in other cities, that's like chump change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it adds up. I mean, $30 a month is still a lot.
It is, but and then but you write a song. So let's take Shannon Book's video, right? I think the budget on that, he was saying, was somewhere around like $7,400-$7,500 when they made it, and it was released on YouTube, and everybody's enjoying and watching it for free, and it's a great video, and people are like, man, look at these guys, man, they must be making millions, but they're not.
No, we are not making millions.
And so I was like, then I started thinking, man, all of these guys had the same story, just like yourself. You spent X number of years in the military, and yes, you were playing in Okinawa and everything else, but your true musical career didn't really start until after the military.
Yep.
You take somebody that came out of high school or out of college, and they started their music career, they're years ahead of you. They did the hard work, and I'm not saying that it was any easier on them than it is for a veteran. My point being is, a veteran has spent X number of years in the Army or the military before they could focus on their music career. So I just wanted a place for musicians to play and not have to worry about algorithms to get their music heard. That's all I wanted, and
I can't speak for all veterans, but I can speak for me. I really appreciate it.
I think a lot of people do.
I reached out to people when you sent me an email, and I was like, what do you guys know about this? And everybody's like, oh, you got to do it. It's awesome. Like, so thank you for what you do. Also, I love Shannon. He and I, we all went down to Camp Southern Ground and spent a few days there. And Shannon he sat next to me during all our classes.
He is hilarious.
He is hilarious. He's a class clown.
Yes.
Like, dude, shh. You'd be like, ah. Him, we were in Sacramento, and like my plane got in late, and he was already asleep. Next morning, he looks over, he's in bed still, and he goes, hey, we're going to be best friends. I was like, word.
He is awesome, man. And that song he has, I love it. Dude, I bet I listen to it 4 or 5 times a day. Is Not Alone. I love it. Dude, I love that song.
Songwriter.
He is, dude. He is. And but yeah, so and that's where I reach out when I see people playing, and I just want people to hear their music, so that's why when I seen that you had a bunch of other songs, I was like, how in the hell did I miss this?
I can't wait for you to listen to Peculiar. I'm so proud of that record. It is it's kind of like each song has a different story. Like Barfly is the type of person that's telling you how to live your life instead of them just realizing they didn't live their life the way they should have. Peculiar is understanding that you're weird at times and it's okay to be weird.
Yeah.
Kissing Scars talks about um, trauma and working through that in a relationship. And instead of when like problems arise in a relationship, not jumping ship and trying to find the newest model and blah 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 blah. And then On My Side is just I love that song. It's kind of like a driving song, but just and then Nasdaq just talks about consumerism and how it's kind of taken over our everyday lives.
Well, if you don't mind, why don't we go and play it? I haven't heard it yet, so
Which song would you like to hear?
yeah. Well, let's do Peculiar.
All right.
Yeah.
And I know that you know that I've been quite peculiar, downright unusual, as per usual, as per usual. In a room you've never been in a world that's always trending, what keeps you grounded? Travel to the world's my bed. When every natural smells in my head, comfortable not caring what I said, what I said, what I said. And I know that you know that I've been quite peculiar, downright unusual, as per usual, as per usual. In a world you've never been in a room that's always spinning, what keeps you grounded? Dreaming the light of day, walking on sun's neon rays, dancing green lights pave the way, today. And I know that you know that I've been quite peculiar, downright unusual, as per usual, as per usual. Paper cuts and purple play, reading psychedelic rain. Go outside and get a taste, a taste, a taste. And I know that you know that I've been quite peculiar, down and unusual, as per usual, as per usual. And I know that you know that I've been quite peculiar, downright unusual, as per usual, as per usual.
Bro, I absolutely love your music, man, because it is just like easy listening. I mean, you could just sit here and chill and just enjoy what you're listening to, man.
Thank you so much.
Dude, like I said, before the show started, man, I was just going through Spotify and I was just like, man, this stuff is good.
Thank
You
you.
know, I, yeah, I can't wait till I get ASCAP, man. There is so many artists like yourself that are. I just can't wait till I get all your guys' stuff over here.
Thank you.
People are gonna have to step it up once y'all get over here. I'm telling you, that top 20 board is gonna be competition.
I wish I could just sign something through ASCAP, be like, anybody can play this.
Yeah,
You don't have. I relinquish all my rights
yeah.
for
Well,
radio.
I think it'll be there, man, within the next month or two. So it won't be long.
So this record was I recorded with this company in Dayton called Real Love Recording Company, and it was the first time I've ever recorded on tape, and it was daunting and a lot of fun because I mean, you'd be like, you really want to record it again, and you do punch cuts, and anything that you punch stays, and whatever you punch over is not coming back.
Oh wow, man. So when you're in a recording studio, man, how on average, how long is somebody looking at to get a song recorded? Is it days or is it
It kind of depends on how many tracks you have and if you have it all written beforehand. Like for some of this record, we just went in and wrote. I mean, the bass line, like the guitars and everything, were pretty much written.
Mhm.
But we would sit in there and be like, well, we need to have shakers. We had a full day of shakers and tambourines. And I'm like, do we really need a full day of shakers? And then you record it and you're like, oh, okay, yes, you do.
Yeah.
I rushed past records and I didn't want to rush this one. So you could do a song in a day.
But you get what you put into it.
You get what you put into it. So it's one of those things that like I stopped trying to meet a deadline. Like I used to be like, we're going to release this record this time, even before we were recording it. And it puts so much pressure on me, the engineers, the musicians. And now I just go by the saying, it'll be done when it's done.
Yeah.
And it's worked out so much better. And working with Patrick, so he was a Nashville guy that moved back to Dayton to open up a studio. Have you ever heard of Ryan Adams?
Mm-hmm.
So he recorded Ryan Adams like one of the CD that made him who he is.
Okay.
And so working with him has been so hands-on because he's one of those people I was like, look, I really want you to be a hands-on producer. And if you don't like something, tell me or whatever. And he was really down to put his input in. But going to his studio, I feel like I'm going to my friend's like house instead of going to like a high stakes, like, because I'd worked with other recording engineers and they're like, why can't you get that part? And they're just not the most fun to be around.
Yeah.
But with Patrick, it's just so easy going. And I think that environment produces a better product.
Absolutely.
Like I already have enough anxiety. I don't need you freaking out on me why I can't get this third harmony part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think a lot of the people, especially for me, until I started interviewing you guys, I didn't have any idea what went into making a song. And when I listen to your guys' stories, I'm like, man, this is not an easy process. It's just
Mhm.
like authors. I started writing a book and I'm like, holy crap, this is not an easy process. You
What's
know,
your what's your book going to be about?
it's just basically it's more about my life in the military. It's more of a story to explain to my kids of why they got stuck with a guy like me. I mean, that's really, there's a lot of things. So when I got out of the military, um, I was not in the right state of mind, and
I feel that.
I uh, I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have do, and I had a lot of plans in my mind that were not positive.
Hmm.
So I know my kids really didn't understand where I was at because I never talked about it.
Hmm.
And I literally would separate myself from my family. I would come home from work and I would eat and then I'd go straight to the bedroom. And I stayed there until the next morning and then I left. To me, I felt that was normal. And anybody else that had the problem, they're the ones that had the fucking problem, not me. You know?
Yeah.
And it then I did the next dumbest thing. I opened up a trucking company because I couldn't find work when I got out. And
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I already wasn't in the right state of mind, and I sure as hell wasn't in the right state of mind to run a business. And then I put myself in a truck, driving 650 miles a day, thinking at 6 weeks of time, living by myself, and that didn't make things any better, you know. So I'm writing this book just basically so my kids can understand my side of the story
Yeah.
and understand where I came from. They seen what happened, but they don't know why what happened. So they're getting the behind the scenes, the uncut version.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with me.
No problem. But um, yeah. So it is definitely uh, when you hear a song like that you like, especially now that I know the process and the work that goes into it, it makes you appreciate it that much more, man,
Yeah.
because it didn't just happen overnight, you know. And
It-
I've heard artists do one of two things. It's like when I ask them, say, so where did that song come from? And they're like, oh man, one day I heard this and I started thinking about this, and 45 minutes later I had the song wrote. Or the other version was, oh man, I started writing the song because it was weighing on me and it just took me months to get through it, you know. But that's just the one part of it. That
Yep.
doesn't include the recording and getting it to the end user that's going to
Nope.
listen to it. So, dude, I appreciate what you're doing and I appreciate your music because
Thank you.
I know the work that you guys are putting into it.
So during COVID, I realized that I write mostly on experience, like experiences that I have
Hmm.
during a normal day. And being locked away for 3 months was,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. So I realized that I couldn't write. Like I could write guitar stuff, but lyrics weren't coming to me as easy.
Hmm.
And I mean, 9 out of 10 times I write all my songs by myself. So there's a family friend, Sarah Kelly, who's a gospel singer. But she's a family friend, and she owns a songwriting school in Texas. And so I was like, I need a little structure since I'm not working. I need something to get out of sweatpants for and to stop drinking a bottle of vodka and playing every video game known to man. I was like, I need a little structure in my life. So I went to that school for about 9 months, and they wanted me to come down to Texas and live there and teach, but I didn't think that was in my plan.
Yeah.
Um, but I wrote with a singer songwriter in Nashville, Megan Allen, and she helped take these songs that I had most of the structure and most of the lyrics to and just help expand it.
Mhm.
The first person that I was with, we did not vibe. I think she wanted me to be more poppy, and she wanted me to pull into her mold instead of meeting me where I was at.
Yeah.
But and on my side, it says, maybe I was destined to be a gutter rat. My mom, she don't like the sound of that. Don't live your life like a welcome mat. They'll step all over you and never come back. And she goes, do you really want to say maybe I was destined to be a gutter rat? I was like, yes. Yeah. I just,
It's on the paper.
and
I put it there.
yeah. And when I got with Megan and started working with her, she was like, so what do you mean when you say that? And got behind everything and just would help me. She would challenge me not to change the lyric, but she wanted to know why I chose that lyric. And it really helped me flesh out these songs. And it was really nice working with somebody else, especially to do a project like this.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's important because vocabulary and everything else is important when you come down to lyrics.
Mhm.
And the way she was doing it is much better because you can say, okay, maybe the way you're putting it's not the right way, but might be a better word choice, or it's going to flow better by saying it a different way without changing your meaning. You know, and to just say, no, you don't really mean that. We need to put it a different way. That then that person needs to write the song. Go sing your own song.
Exactly.
And that's what I tell people about when they ask me about what kind of music is on Gunroom Radio. I tell them, I say, well, the cool thing about it is you can either listen to radio stations where the guy bought a cowboy hat and is now a cowboy,
Mm-hmm.
or you can listen to Gunroom Radio where the guys that have wrote the songs are writing about what they've done and have lived.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the people and the majority of their songs, I'm not going to say all of them, there is a few, like Robert DePrado's got a few songs that he's kind of trying to get away from just the military vibe and expand. But for the most part, a lot of the songs are about their experiences and
Yep.
what they lived. And the military is their life experiences. So I said, that's one thing I like about it. Not that it's wrong to be any other kind of artist, but that's why I relate to it, because those are the same life experiences that I have. And that's why I think a lot of veterans will benefit from listening to your guys' music, because they can relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't all have to be negative songs. And you listen to a lot of the songs out there and you start realizing, man, this guy went through the same thing I went through.
Yep.
I was thinking that guy. And then you see that he's out there now living a great life, pursuing dreams. Not saying that he's making millions, but there might be another person that used to sit there strumming that guitar while he was deployed, that since he's gotten out, he has not gotten through the PTSD and the depression and everything that comes to most of us, and so he put his dreams aside because I'll never be able to do that. But now he sees people like you guys that are doing it, and I think it's just important for you guys to be out there and people seeing what you're doing and hearing your guys' music, because they can relate to it, and there might be somebody that's going through that same thing at that time.
I would tell that person, don't ever give up on your dreams.
Yeah.
Even if they seem so far away. Like, I've released 4 albums, and sometimes I can't pay for things, and I can't achieve everything that I want to.
Right.
But I'm still pushing. I mean, a lot of maybe you can relate to this. like when you're looking at those stats, you're wondering, am I running on a treadmill or am I actually running toward the goal?
Right. Yeah. No, I absolutely.
So, I mean, there's plenty. I mean, for the past about a year and a half, I was like, do I really want to do music? I've been doing it for 10 years. I could just quit and go become a lawyer or do something. But it hits this moment where I need to do this because it makes me the most happy. And you got to, you have to make sure that you're happy versus following other people's happiness.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's, so I think there's a couple parts of this. I think part of it is you have to get past the I'm a victim stage, and
Mm-hmm.
and you have to start accepting responsibility. Um, like I said, when I got out, I fucked up a lot of things. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
nobody else did that. The government didn't do that. My wife didn't do that. The kids didn't do it. I did it. But now is the time that now I'm in that stage of where I'm trying to fix that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, you can't give up. You have to push forward, and it comes in stages, man. And that first stage is getting past and accepting the responsibility, and then figuring out what it is that you really want. It doesn't have to be, I want to be the millionaire. I want to be the next Garth Brooks. It
Yeah.
could be something as simple as I just want to be the guy that owns a little coffee shop down the street and I sell coffee all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that extravagant thing, but it should be something that makes you happy and something you're passionate about.
What you were saying about taking ownership, like, I feel like trauma shouldn't be your life. I like, yes, I carry trauma with me, and in certain increments in my life, I put those bags down and walk away from them.
Yeah.
But you can't be the 50-year-old guy in the Letterman jacket being like, well, if I made that pass, I could have went to state and I'm going to be the best. Like, you
Yeah.
need to move on.
Yeah.
And if you're holding on, yes, it's very hard to put down trauma, but I mean, life gets way fucking easier after, and it's way more beneficial to your own mental health, your own life, people around you.
Yeah.
Like, look, if you're a jerk when you don't take medicine, take your medicine.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want to be on anti-anxiety meds, but I'm on them because they help me.
I'm not same way.
Yeah.
And my wife will tell you, I'm a lot nicer.
Yeah. I'm way nicer. I don't snap at people randomly like, what are you looking at?
Yeah. And there's a lot of civilians at work that will tell you.
Yeah.
Your meds today?
You took a meds?
I sure did. But you're still pissing me off.
Yeah. It's like on that same album, there's a song called Mess It Up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much that. Like, you may mess everything up, but you got to keep going. Like, you can't just quit the fight because you think you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yeah, it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to do everything. But life has a funny way of surprising you and introducing some pretty goddamn beautiful things.
I agree, brother. I absolutely do agree. Well, let me ask you, man, where if somebody wants to find out where you're playing at and perform, where's the best place for them to go?
So all of our social media is the Yuppie Music. So on there, our website's a little behind because I'm also the person that has to do the website. So yeah, on social media, that'll have all of our shows.
Okay.
We're playing a handful of shows in Dayton in July, and I'm also playing in Nashville July 6th at the Listening Room with a bunch of other dudes from Operation Encore, and I can't wait to be able to hang out with them. I think
Isn't the Listening Room also where the Stop 22 guys play at? Sal Gonzalez and
don't know.
I think they play down there once a week. They also do a tour together called the Stop 22 tour. I think that's where he said. But
Awesome.
yeah,
I'm about to look them up.
yeah, he's not with Operation Encore. He is a spokesperson. He's a Marine.
Woo!
Lost his leg in Ramadi. Named Sal Gonzalez. Lives in there. He's friends with Scotty Hastings. But yeah, the Stop 22 tour. You can check it out. There's a lot of good vets that are part of that. I think they play 6, maybe 7 stops a year in different locations. So I want to go to one just to experience it. But a lot of great artists, man.
It's amazing.
So, but yeah, brother, I am glad you came on, man, and I am going to make sure that I follow, because I think I'm following your personal account. I don't think I'm following your music one. So I'm going to make sure I follow the right account so I can share any events that are coming up and everything as well. We got a new DJ that was just on. He is a Marine as well. So that way he can also see him and he can announce them on the radio as well. So,
Nice. Well, I thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to this all past couple weeks, and thank you for what you do. And I hopefully someday we can share a beer.
absolutely, brother. And anytime you're around Missouri, so you'll probably get hit up here shortly by a guy named Jason Stein. Just about every artist that I have on here, he usually sends out a message to book you for an event he calls Hero Stock. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but it's a event. Scotty's going to be up there this year, and then there's 3 other bands that's playing with him, and then next year it's Sal Gonzalez, Shannon Book, Scotty Hastings again, I think.
Nice.
And I think there's one more person. And so I don't know how many bands he's trying to get for 2024. He may already be starting on 2025.
Yeah.
It is grown massively. It's there in Ashland, Nebraska, right outside Lincoln. So I'm sure you'll get hit up.
Nebraska, and I welcome. I mean, I'll play anywhere, big and small. I don't care. I just like exploring this great country we live in, and
Absolutely, brother.
well,
But I will pass on your information and get you linked up with him, and we'll see where it all goes, brother.
thanks, man.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Bye bye.